Hi all. Today we have Anupam Sharma with us to discuss about the impact of COVID-19 crisis on the film industry. Anupam is a renowned Australian Indian filmmaker known for his films such as Un-Indian and The Run. He has led team of film professionals, line producing, co-producing, and executive producing international films and TVCs in Australia. Anupam is currently working on his new documentary titled Bollywood Down Under. Welcome, Anupam.
Thank you, Dr. Kishore. Thanks to all your listeners and viewers now. It's different terminology.
Yeah, things have gone online, so it's good to connect with people through all these social networking sites. Uh, so, Anupam, thanks for joining us and for sparing time to talk about the situation that film industry is facing at the moment. So, my first question to you is, what is your view on the impact of COVID-19 crisis on film industry in general and on Australia and India in particular?
Look, I mean, on film industry, it is catastrophic on all counts. Because of the social distancing rule, most of the shoots have cancelled. Most of the businesses have stopped, which means, the advertising has stopped. Investors are cautious, which means investment is very little. And you can't shoot. You can't shoot anything. We were lucky to do a TV commercial for France and India just before this thing happened. And to give you an idea, while we were shooting, I had about 150 cast and crew. Literally all of them lost 7 months of work within 24 hours.
Yeah.
But the situation is really bad because not only have they lost work, but most of the film industry crew are not covered by many of the government grants. And the people in the arts industry, including academics such as yourself, who are in the humanities and the arts section, we feel like we have received a very poor treatment as far as government benefits go, anywhere in the world, especially in Australia, which is sad but not surprising, given that our country was one of the few countries in Australia which was starting to get rid of even the arts department. So the film industry has been hit multiply. We can't shoot our own projects. The government benefits, most of them don't apply to crews. The international servicing industry has gone down, which means all the international productions which used to come to Australia, they're down. I mean, our team is based out of Fox Studios in Sydney. We've been there for 20 years and we have never seen it like a ghost town as it is. From Warner Brothers to Disney to Fox, everything stopped within 48 hours. The only sound we hear is a music director 2 doors down from our alley and some post-production work going on. So it is really, really bad. But we also have to look at some positive things because, yes, negativity is a reality. All the catastrophes are a reality, but we have to look at with a positive outlook towards future, which is a lot of film people I know, a lot of filmmakers, directors, writers are bunkered in. They're either post-producing or editing the stuff which they have shot, like we are doing with our current film, or they're developing further. And this is where the people who have always come to our saviors, which is the screen film agencies and our associations, have come to our help in Australia. Screen Australia has announced a couple of new strands for premium development, which means if you were to shoot between March this year and March next year, and things have stopped, if you go on their website, there are various ways they can help you, especially in premium development. They've increased money in development, which means if you're a writer and you need to use this time, this isolation, which is the best time to write, then you can apply for the grants. A lot of cities like Melbourne and Sydney are also giving grants to cultural and artistic activities. So that's a positive outlook. You can develop your skills. You can start writing. You can develop your films. To the second part of your question, India and Australia, well, all the good things which existed in any industry, whether it was films, whether it was bilateral trade, Corona has converted it into negative things to the same scale, which means India was one of our top 5 partners to do business, which means because it was such a high bilateral trade, the effect has been as devastating as it could be in Corona. I know bilateral trade has stopped. I know in terms of films and arts, the film industry that I belong, films have stopped distributing. Theaters are not open. So all those major films you used to see in major theater chains, they can't do that. Servicing has stopped. Within 48 hours, we had 2 major projects. We were working on a very high-end film, which I can't name, by a major banner in India. And they wanted close to 50 crew and cast from Australia, whose visas were supposed to be applied. They've gone down. We had 2 location surveys, one from Spain, one from India. They got canceled. And this is just us. I mean, we are a small company. So you can imagine what is happening on a grander scale. You pick up any department, Vikrant. You pick up location department. Where will they go to look at locations? No one wants to meet them. Catering department, assistant directors. Production department, we are still trying to help our crew. So for example, we are developing 2 features, a feature which was announced last year, which is to be shot in Melbourne, which is a drama. We are still using some of the money which we have from investors to do budgets, to do schedules, to casting directors are still out. But it's a new world. I mean, what can I say?
Yeah, it's quite tough for many filmmakers and especially ones who are wanting to join the industry as well. So what is your advice for filmmakers who are struggling or feeling down at this stage?
To them, what I would say is this is not the end of the world, number 1. Number 2, if any industry is well placed as one can be, to deal with a situation like this, it is a film industry. Because most of us in the film industry are used to feast and famine. We may have regular work for months and suddenly there would be 3 or 4 months where my crew I've seen have never had any work. So we are used to this. So my advice to all my colleagues who we keep on talking over Zoom parties, we have Zoom drink parties, is to use the common cliche is that you may be isolated, but be connected. You can have Zoom parties. You can have Zoom writing discussions. There is a cinema group which was formed by one of my colleagues, Heath Davis, which is called Cinegabar. They have got Write Club, like Fight Club, which does writing clubs. So try to find such avenues. Sundance, for example, which is a prestigious Sundance lab out of America, they are giving free registration to all their master classes. To all your students and newcomers, especially who are there, or even people who may be writers and who may want to direct, or people who are directors who may want to write. They've got amazing master classes, 3-hour-long master classes by the top people in Hollywood, all free. And because of the electronic world we are living in the e-world, they can jump onto it anytime. I would also suggest to use this time of isolation, to use this time of lockdown and develop stuff. Because what is the worst feeling than being isolated and not being able to make your own film is to be on the other side of it 3 months later and thinking, damn, I should have used those 3 things to write, 3 months to write something, to develop something. Because when this is over, there'll be a huge shortage for content. Investors will be throwing money. If they won't be throwing money, the streamers would be acquiring stuff. So be ready. And something you were planning on developing in 2021, develop it now. Get it ready. Work on those scenes. I mean, to some of my writers, I say, we are working on a project where we were ready to go into casting, but now that we have time, we are going deep in the script, using this time to develop more. And I cannot overstate that your morale will be so high when 1 month or 2 months down the track, you look back and you say, wow, we used these 2 months to get that script, which is now ready and which is getting all these interest. Cannes Film Festival, for example, the Marché film market, it's on electronically. So if you have been working on the script and your script is ready in time by May end, register for it. Registration is very cheap compared to thousands of dollars. It's like $100 or something, a couple of $100, and send your scripts to people. If you're a director, this is the best time to work on your show reel. If you're a production company, then you will be eligible for some, if not most of the government grants. Use those grants to put back in the industry. Give your production manager to work on a budget, talk to your publicist about something, give it some money to your casting director to cast the new things. There's so many things to do. So one way of looking at it, which is how my team and I are looking at it, that this is a golden opportunity for us to have no distractions. I mean, we used to travel every week, now we can't travel. So you have no distractions. You can't go to theaters to watch a film. Parties are off. You can't go to restaurants. So literally, it's a godsend opportunity to develop as much as you can And there's so many industry groups out there which will help you. You know, so many filming agencies who are happy to talk to you, whether you're a new entrant or an experienced person. So look, you know, if you're going through night, look at when dawn would be there and sun would be rising. But look at it in a way that when sun rises, you're not kicking yourself for having wasted the night and not having slept properly. Because now you're tired, you can't use the good time. So my suggestion to all of them is, you know, if you're feeling low, then there's so many agencies, so many groups you can reach out to, including Beyond Blue and other places. But talk to friends, you know, catch up every evening, discuss your ideas. Just think of it as normal, except that no distractions.
Okay. Anupam, you provided some really helpful suggestions and tips for people in film and media. What would be your advice for film students at this time, especially the ones in the final year looking to join the industry soon?
I mean, you know, for them, one of the things I'd like to say is, you know, of course, online lecturing and online studies, you guys are the masters, you're the academics, you know best to teach them. But one of the things I'm assuming all the students we dreamt for when we were film students, is how to make the transition from your courses, from your studies, to the actual professional film world. With that in mind, you'd be surprised, Vikrant, the number of queries we are getting from final year students, and two of them, actually one from Deakin, is actually working with us remotely. They are offering, you know, we are still open. A lot of production companies are opening, or, you know, still open for internships, whether paid or unpaid, you know. And this is an ideal opportunity to develop your contacts and your network with existing production companies, producers, directors. Reach out to them. You may have an idol who you love, who you admire, his or her work. There's nothing stopping you from reaching out to them and telling, look, I'm a final year student of film or second year student. If you have any project, I'm happy to offer, you know, free researching or whatever skills. So use this time to network, because networking is still happening. If anything, people are more receptive. If, you know, most of the interns we have taken on board, remote interns, we have even taken on a paid intern, is because they came out and they said, look, it's Corona times, and we don't have much courses, but we'd like to use our skill. There's anything we can work on. And one of the girls is working for us remotely, researching for us. And work, you know, we have another graduate of design who is designing proposals for us, which we are still sending to television stations. Because keep in mind, screen agencies, television stations, streamers, all the non-theatrical exhibition spaces are still on. They're still open, and they're busier than ever. So to all your students, and generally students, you know, reach out to professionals. Most of us are available, you know, our contact details are available online, easily accessible. And now, especially during Corona, I know many professionals and many colleagues and seniors who are more receptive to cold emails and cold stuff. So reach out to people. And you know, as they say, necessity is the birth of all inventions. If it's necessary for you to stay at home, lovely things will come out.
Yeah, sure. And I'm sure many of them would really, you know, appreciate the advice that you have given. So many thanks, Anupam, for joining us today and for providing your inputs on this. I'm sure this will be helpful to many, and definitely some of your inputs, you know, it has helped me as well to understand, you know, how the industry is responding to the situation. Thanks again for joining us.
Thanks, Vikrant. And I would like to say, you know, you're asking me what can be done, but what you're doing now exactly, you know, you're talking to me, I know you're talking to other people every day. You know, this is what you and your students are contributing to immensely, disseminating information. You and I are in the business of communication. We just have to find different ways of communication. So good on you, all the best. And I know it's a cliche, but we are all in it together. See you on the other side.